Okay, good morning. I'd like to welcome everybody to the March 20th, 2025 Board of Public Works and Safety meeting. A roll call, please. Here.
Here.
Are there any conflict of interest statements?
No.
Approval of the minutes of the meeting of March 13th, 2025,
I recommend the approval of those minutes.
and I concur. Bid openings, there are going to be bid openings for the Brook Forest Parish Avenue fence. Quotes, sorry, yeah. We're going to have 3 quotes for that fence. Again, it's for the Brook Forest Parish Avenue fence. The first one is from Northwest Indiana Fence. And that quote is $47,950. Again, that's from Northwest Indiana Fence for $47,950. The second one is from Hammond Fence. And that quote is for $65,500. Again, Hammond Fence, $65,500. There's a notation, text is not included, just so everybody knows that part. And then last but not least, the third one is from Fence Masters. And that quote is $67,760. Fence Masters, $67,760. Sorry.
Can we review that to our consultant for a recommendation?
Will do.
I recommend that we send this to engineering for their consultants to review and make their recommendation.
And I concur.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, matters from other department heads or their representatives. Anybody? Okay, moving on then to correspondence. Letter A, correspondence received from Bernard Gazzolia, Fire Chief, requesting the promotions of Craig Johnson, Michael Agriano, okay, and Samuel Gonzalez from probationary firefighters to private firefighters, retroactive to March 4th, 2025.
I recommend the approval.
And I concur. Letter B, correspondence received from Dean Button requesting $3,920 of CIB funding to be allocated for the environmental consulting for contaminated soil disposal reporting from Info-Forensics, submitted for approval.
Capital Improvement Board met on Monday night and funded the work to be done. So basically, sorry, 1800 block of Summer Street. There's the contractor was working on Summer Street, and they uncovered some contaminated soil, petroleum contaminated soil. We had to remove it, test it, try to use it as recompactable material, but we couldn't get it compacted. It wouldn't reach compaction. So we had to haul it to the landfill, characterize the waste, and send it to Newton County landfill. We, at the advice of the Director of Environmental Management, Ron Novak, we contacted IDEM when it was first found. IDEM created an incident. IDEM wanted us to prepare a closure report. It required certification by an environmental professional, which we don't have those accreditations or credentials in-house. So I asked Environmental Forensics for help to put the submittal together, and they did. And so this is the cost for them to do that, and I'd ask for your approval of the funding allocation.
Okay.
I recommend the approval.
And I concur.
Thank you.
Thank you. Letter C, correspondence received from Jim Talon requesting $44,187.67 of 5th District Gaming Fund to be allocated for the Dowling Park maintenance, submitted for approval.
Recommend the approval.
And I concur. Letter D, correspondence received from Councilman Rakos requesting no parking anytime signs to be placed on both sides of the 6900 block and 7000 block of Parish Avenue, submitted for approval.
Good Morning to the board. Recommend that it be done on a 90-day temporary basis, and then we notify the councilman that we're doing it on a 90-day temporary, and then please calendar that for 90 days, and then we'll determine at that point to make it permanent.
Okay.
I recommend this approval for a 90-day temporary basis and notify the councilman.
Just want to make sure if Dean had any input on that. Dean, are you good with that plan? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and I concur with the recommendation. Moving on to letter E, correspondence received from Kelly Kearney, Chief of Inspections, requesting the bid award for the 1717 through 1723 Summer Street demolition project be awarded to JM Industrial Services Incorporated in the amount of $38,000, who was the lowest responsible and responsible bidder, submitted for approval.
Good morning, Board.
Good morning, Kelly.
Most responsive, most responsible, and the only bidder. So,
That's important,
Made it
the
easy.
last one.
and a really good price, too, so,
Okay,
thank you.
I recommend this approval.
and I concur. Letter F, correspondence received from the Police Department approving the request for parades for the St. Margaret Mary Church on Friday, April 18th, 2025, and Hammond Mohawks on Monday, May 26th, 2025, submitted for approval. Easy.
I recommend the approval.
And I concur. Letter F, correspondence received from, oh, I did that already, sorry. I got the NCAA tournament on my mind, sorry. Number 8, matters from board members. Do you have anything?
Not a thing.
Okay. Number 9, new business. Letter A, resolution and intergovernmental agreement with Hammond Department of Redevelopment for the transfers of numerous properties within the city, submitted for approval.
Morning to the board again. These are vacant properties that are going to be part of the redevelopment department's infill housing project, where they are going to be offering these up, hopefully for new infill housing throughout the city. I'd request, I have not had an opportunity to run this intergovernmental agreement by Mr. Westland over at redevelopment or Ms. Taylor. So I would just request that it be approved in substantial conformity, and if there are any changes, we'll advise the board.
I recommend approval based on the statements made by Mr. Smith.
Exactly, you don't
Yeah.
sound like me.
Yeah.
And I concur. Letter B, disposal authorizations received from the Hammond Police Department, submitted for approval,
I recommend the approval.
and I concur. Letter C, request for late business license hearing, submitted for approval,
I recommend we set the date for that for April 3rd, 2025.
and I concur. Letter D, right-of-way permits received from engineering, submitted for approval.
Yeah, good morning. We have a few of them.
Yeah, quite a few.
Yeah, I think that's a record. So basically, 27 are NIPSCO gas lines, residential, either redoing them or retiring them. So last year, we talked to NIPSCO, and they weren't getting permits prior to this for doing the minor work, so now we know where they're at, so that's why there's so many. 6839 Missouri, new driveway, and there's a couple of Salyer plumbing for water line services. So I recommend approval.
Okay,
And I also recommend approval.
Thank you.
and I concur. Letter E, notice of violation hearing on property located at 2404 White Oak Avenue. Good morning. Good morning.
To the board. I'm the owner of the property.
Could you give us your name, please?
Sure, my name's Glenn Doring.
Hey, Mr. Doring.
Yes, so on February 12, 2025, myself and Code Commissioner Nick Farrell conducted an inspection of the property at 2404 White Oak Avenue, which is currently constructed as a 4-unit apartment complex. Following the inspection, it was determined that 2 areas within the property failed to meet the minimum requirements for habitation and were deemed unfit for occupancy. First thing we found was all interior staircases across the second and third units need to be reconstructed to meet current building codes. The existing
Chris.
staircases.
She wants you to slow down just a little bit.
Sorry about that. The existing staircase is measured at 25 inches wide, which is significantly lower below the minimum code standard of 36 inches in width. To ensure compliance with the staircases will be modified to replace with code compliant structures to meet the safety and accessibility standards as required by local regulation. The first floor garage area was illegally converted into living space without proper permits or approvals. The area is currently unoccupied, but must be removed due to lack of fire separation between the converted space and the rest of the structure, and the failure to find permits to account for its creation as a separate dwelling. The second floor rear studio apartment was found unfit for habitation due to the code violations of lack of fire separation, the absence of egress, and failure to find permits to account for its creation. There are photos of each violation detailed in the packet. And then additionally, in the studio apartment, the bathroom failed to meet the minimum requirements for use, as it was a very small confined space, and it was, I think, 14 inches wide from center, which is not current code for a bathroom. I have spoken to Mr. Doring and the property managers. They are in agreement with everything, and basically, he was just here for confirmation.
Correct.
You agree with that, sir?
I do. Yeah, I bought the property. It was, all those conditions were there when I purchased it. I can't speak to any of the lack of permitting or any of that stuff from before I owned it. So we're in cooperation. We're in the process of getting estimates for everything, and we're working to close down the units that are unsatisfactory. So I have no idea what the staircase situation will cost or how. So that's my biggest concern, is how expensive that'll be. But, you know, we're in full compliance with the whole process. So I just want to be present and share that I'm committed to working with the city.
Well, thank you, we appreciate that. So we're good then?
Yeah, so we
Yep.
just need the signatures on the findings, and that's all.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Okay,
yep.
I recommend that we accept the findings for 2404 White Oak.
And I concur. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, letter F, order to rescind and release order to demolish property located at 848 Truman Street, submitted for approval.
Good morning to the board.
Good morning.
I wanted to print out these photos. I didn't, Mr. Luter sent these to me, but just, I can let you know that 848 Truman has been totally rehabbed. I mean, I can get you the copies of these if you'd like, afforded, but,
That's what we can see.
okay, yeah, it's been totally rehabbed, and would request that the order to rescind and release be approved as presented.
Got it.
I recommend the approval to rescind.
And I concur. Letter G, request for a late rental registration hearing, submitted for approval.
I recommend we set that for April 13th, 2025.
And I concur. Number 10, old business, letter A, status for 847 117th.
Morning. Just to set the record, Mr. Farrell's giving pictures of the property taken just yesterday. Last time we were here was December 19th of 2024. Mr. Sears appeared in person. He indicated there was a final inspection on the insulation and was given permission to install drywall, just not over the plumbing, and that he needed to go and get that installed. So that was, and we set it over for March 20th for a further status. That's where we're at. Good
Good
morning.
morning, sir. Just for the record, can you give us your name again?
Brian Sears.
And then tell us where you're at with the property?
Well, as he had mentioned, Bill Luter was there Tuesday, and he was greatly impressed with the progress. Those are the pictures. Drywall is about 85% completed. There's been no taping or mudding at this time because there's no heat in the building. I do have to remove a few pieces of drywall that are covering up some of the gas line. That's where I'm at now. I'm going to get a gas line permit inspection so I can get the gas turned on. Once the gas is turned on, then we can proceed further with.
Was the gas line installed?
The gas line's installed, but it's never been tested. It's never been put on.
All right, because that was another thing back in December. Mr. Sears mentioned that he needed to get the gas line installed, so it sounds like that's been done, so that's good.
It's installed. It's not operational.
So do we have a timetable from your perspective?
I'd like a 3-month extension. I'd like to continue with the drywall mudding and get the gas line operational and go forward from there.
Yeah, we have no objection to the 3 months.
So just set a status date for.
Yeah, I just want to find out, kind of like we did last time. I thought it was good to set some goals for that. So, Mr. Sears, do you want to let us know, like, in 90 days where you think you'll be in, we come back in June?
Well, like I say, hopefully at that point, I'll have the gas line installed, well, it's already installed, operational, and I'll be progressing with the mudding and finishing up the other 85, the 15% that's, I can't cover up the plumbing. Some of the plumbing runs through the attic, and until I can get the water turned on, I'm gonna be held back a little bit.
What's
on
holding
covering-
that up? The
Well,
water?
the water lines run through the ceiling. This library was built on a slab, so there's no basement.
Excuse me.
So everything has to go overhead, and that overhead would hinder putting up the drywall to get the inspections.
So the water's gonna be the last thing that needs to be done, is that correct or no?
I see it that way.
Yeah, I'm kind of just maybe, and this is, I'm a lawyer, not a contractor, but so the water lines are overhead. You can't put why can't you turn the water on? Because there's no heat, or just,
There's no heat.
okay, but in June there will be, so like what's going to
Right,
stop you
so-
from turning the water on
So
later?
now that we're past winter, and weather permitting, of course, with the gas line and that, and I can get some kind of heating in there with gas, then the water would be next.
Okay, and is there anything preventing you outside of no heat from turning on the water?
That's it. That's what's preventing me from doing
Okay,
it.
so in other words, you don't believe like that there's problems with the water lines, there's no plumbing
No.
issues? Okay.
There's
So I
never
would
been-
think that we want the water, if the gas line passes, then he can turn the heat on.
Absolutely.
And then we can have the water running, which means he can cover up the plumbing with the drywall, which means it should all be done.
Yeah.
And taped and mudded, right? Or mudded and taped.
Well, I'm not a contractor either, but aren't we soon, we'll be past the danger of the water lines freezing?
We would have to inspect the plumbing, once you turn it on,
Okay.
under pressure, see if there's any leaks, any connections that need to be redone or repaired.
So do we think we can get to that point before 90 days where we can have the plumbing, at least the inspection of the water lines?
Well, I don't know if, I don't want to make promises I can't keep.
I understand.
Last week, one of my houses in Hammond burned down. Didn't burn down to the ground, but it burned because my neighbor was burning leaves in a fire pit, which was, basically he had the thing right up against my brick wall. It caught my back porch on fire. One of the firemen fell through the back porch,
We're
putting
aware
out
of
the
that.
fire.
Yep, yep.
And I'm going to have a lot of effort focused in that direction. I'm joint owner of the property with my brother, and he's an attorney, a not practicing attorney.
You've got
And,
insurance.
I have insurance. I had the minimum amount on the building for the purchase price, which was 5 or 6 or 7 years ago, and it's probably going to end up in private court.
But the only thing I would say is, we don't want to set minimum goals. I mean, I feel like if we set minimum goals for 90 days
I'm
from
gonna try
now,
to get the water line.
That's what we want to hear.
I'm
That
gonna
you're
try
at
to
least
get the water
okay.
line.
Okay, so we're going to try our best to get it done in 90 days.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but we want to see progress for sure in 90 days.
We're going to have progress.
Okay, that's what we want to hear also. Okay, so is the city good with that? Or,
Yeah, and you'll let Mr. Luter know that, like, to contact Mr. Sears, not that there's going to need a plumbing inspection like tomorrow, but that would be our goal at the, by the 90-day mark when we come back.
okay,
Okay.
how does June 26th sound?
Sure. Okay.
Okay. I recommend we set this over for status for June 26, 2025.
One of these years, I'm going to be able to take a vacation.
And I concur with the recommendation. We'll see you in June.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Letter B, status for 1430 Stanton.
Mr. Grabarczyk, I believe, here. I thought I saw him. Last time we were here was February 20th. He was there at that time. He mentioned that he has to hire an electrician, but he was going to sell a motorcycle to get more money to provide for those funds, and he will know more soon and would let us know what's going to go on at this status. So here we are, waiting for the news on the motorcycle sale and the electricity.
Yeah, I sold the motorcycle, and, actually, my name's Jake Grabarczyk.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, I sold the motorcycle, I hired an electrician, he pulled a permit, and then I sold the house. So,
Oh,
so it's sold. I haven't closed on it yet. They said 6 liens from the city of Hammond, code enforcement, unsafe building acts, something else, and I believe I paid you guys everything when I entered the rehabilitation agreement, so
Maybe you paid it, did you have to post a bond?
I posted a $10,000 bond.
So, okay, that gets a little complicated because I assume, well, a couple things. One, inspections number one, you need to make sure that you let the buyer know that it's under a demolition order.
I did.
Okay, and then at closing, usually those liens get paid at closing. They're not paid, the bond was just there to make sure that if you like walked on the property, we could then knock it down if you didn't do anything to it. So it sounds like, is the new owner going to want to continue on with the rehab of it?
Yes.
Okay, so we need to make sure that they transfer in a bond and you would get yours out to you.
I've told them all about that.
Okay.
There was a board-up fee.
Yep.
And a code enforcement
Yep,
for mowing the lawn, a cut and clean or something.
Correct.
I paid those.
those usually get paid through taxes. We'll take a look at that. So
I mean,
Linda, make sure we.
I paid them. I don't know.
I mean, I guess I'm saying if you paid your taxes, we could probably release them, but Linda will take a look at that.
It was like $1,200. I paid it.
Yeah, okay, if you paid it, that's good. Where'd you pay it?
I paid it here.
Okay, we'll look it up. We'll make sure to
Okay.
contact you. Yeah, because we want to make sure you're not double paying it.
Sure.
Yeah.
So do we need to give this time for that to take care of itself?
And we need you to make sure you give Kelly or whoever you're dealing with, Bill, or maybe it's Chris, the new owner's contact information.
Sure.
Okay, because you have an obligation to do that under the Unsafe Building Act. So if you can get that to us, that'd be great. We can contact that person, and then hopefully we can just kind of smooth all this through, get a new bond in place, or if they want to work out something where they keep the bond, that's up to them. So, okay.
Okay,
I
so,
think we need a status with the new owner after he gets contact information. If you could just let Linda know that contact information as well, so we could give
you
notice
know if
out.
the new owner's local?
I don't think so.
You're not gonna think
I
so?
think they're from Ohio.
Okay. But the sale's pending right now, you don't have a closing date or
We haven't
anything right
closed.
now?
I spoke to the inspections department a few days ago, and they said they would have the paperwork for the liens today.
Okay,
So I'm hoping to get that to
Gotcha.
the buyer.
gotcha. Okay, so how long do we want to set the status for?
When do you have closing set?
It was supposed to be this week, but then they found the liens when they did the title search. So
Okay.
I don't really have one set, but
Yeah, okay. Number one, I would say 30 days, just get the new owner, and then I would just make sure that you contact the law department or have your title company contact the law department so that we can help with the liens.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
April 24th, is that okay?
Yeah,
Okay,
Recommend we set this for status for April 24th, 2025.
and I concur. Okay, number 11, late rental registration hearings, I don't see any. Number 12, the meeting's now open to the public. Anybody have anything they want to say? Come on up. Good morning.
Good morning,
Could
everybody.
you give us your name again,
Yeah,
please?
Jose Galvin, 1521 Summer Street.
Go ahead, Mr. Galvin.
I have an issue, but before that, I really want to, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank the mayor, Mr. Dutton
Mr.
Engineering,
Button.
for the street, city attorney and inspections. The buildings are coming down, the old buildings are coming down, and then Summer Street, since 2005, since I've been in here, Summer Street is looking to attract more investors. So I really thank you. That's one thing I want. It's a huge makeover, you can say. So thank you. And then I do have one issue that, so sorry. That I
That's
would
okay,
like
Mr.
to.
Galvin, go ahead.
Yes. A couple years ago, I was here about someone parking cars with no plates. So code enforcement stopped by and tagged him. He changed tactics. Now he has access to paper plates and a dealer plate. So I tried to figure out for these past 2 years who owns the dealer plate. Submitted some complaints to the dealers division. I don't know how and so I have information about the person. Now, some of the issues end up in court. I don't know if it was dismissed because he claimed that he don't live there, or because the father told the judge that his son don't live there. I don't know. All I know that the father knows that his son is selling cars, and I found two locations. One is right there on Birch Avenue. The other one, I have the address here. And now he's actually a member of one of the groups that if someone, and he has a different name that he posted. So to track down his selling entrepreneurship, which, he doesn't have a business license, first of all. And the second is that at any given time, right now there is 3 vehicles in one location. And I drove by in the other location, there is like 4 or 7 cars. So it's not 1 or 2 cars. I know the state allows 11 cars. You have to plate them, first of all. So the issue here is that if he has access to paper plates and dealer plates, that tells you that the U.S. task force that the mayor created with everybody, there is another issue here that dealers are involved in allowing third-party people to use their license to sell cars in our neighborhood. Meaning, at any given time, for example, Jose Galvan can go to a car lot and say, $300 cash, let me use your dealer, I'm gonna go buy 20 cars. So I'm gonna have 20 cars. I say, oh, by the way, the inspections is bothering me, give me 20 paper plates. So quality of life in the wheel tax revenue that the mayor is planning to enforce, it seems like a whole lot of people is gonna go around and find a different way using the dealer place. So I have some info. It's more like the quality of life. How can I tell my tenant not to have cars with no plates if this guy is doing? I asked one of the inspectors here, code enforcement does not have the tools to check a current paper plate, but what if the paper plate does not belong to the vehicle, but it says it's current? So only police officers have. So I asked a police officer in Highland, they say that a police officer over there, it is actually a code enforcement official. So it goes to every property and it puts up, and it's okay, that doesn't belong there.
Okay, Mr. Governor, I don't want to speak for Highland, but in Hammond, code enforcement and the police work hand in hand, side by side.
Yes.
So do you have an address for that?
Oh, I have 2 addresses. So wondering, and I have information how these guys going around in circles.
I'll be glad to take the information, and Mr. Long, as you said, we work very well with the police department in these situations. We've got an agreement on private property, we'll cite, and try to get it to order. If it's on the street, police department will tag. But they're the only ones that have the ability to run the plates, so we can chase that down. I got a feeling I know who the person is, and we've got an active case against that person. So we have no problem researching and doing what's necessary.
Yeah, because if they're selling cars without a business license, we'll cite them.
Sure.
If they're selling cars for somebody that does have a business license, we'll cite them, and they might lose their business license.
Yes.
So we can take care of that.
Yes, that's
Okay,
I was
okay.
here, because it is true. I spoke to a dealers division person came a couple years ago. She told me that it's crucial that the city does call them and give them all the information and proof that they find, so they can actually go to the dealer and cancel the license or give them a citation, tell them, look, we know that you're doing this and it's illegal.
That's what we'll do, Mr. Galvin. If we find out they're using a car lot that has a business license, paper plates, we will cite them, and there's a possibility they could lose their license.
That is one.
Okay.
There is 3 people in my neighborhood that has a dealer plate. Now, if you do want more information, contact me, and I will tell you how the other ones are doing it.
All I need is the address.
Yeah, it's just that the dealers sometimes are not in this town, they're in another town. Like that one is in another town nearby. But the family
That has nothing to do with us.
Exactly.
So-
So the problem is bigger. So the guy operates, his uncles operate in a different town. So all the properties they're over here that they're buying, them with cars.
Okay.
See how?
But I mean, you threw a lot at us this morning.
yes,
So
I'm
give
sorry.
us time, we're gonna look into it, I promise.
Yeah.
Code enforcement and the police department will take care of it.
Yeah, so, but thank you for all your help.
No
okay?
no
Thank you.
problem, Mr.
Thank you.
Galvin, thank you.
Thank
Okay. Anybody else in the public like to speak? Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Could you give us your name, please?
Leandre Fentress,
Okay,
and I have a property, 2104 Sherman Street.
okay,
It's not it's not up for, to come back to court until the 3rd, but I was trying to get an extension because my, job pretty much gonna be busy. I was trying to see if I can get an extension now to, it's on the demo list, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's on the
Yeah,
demo
yeah,
list?
Yeah, and I was trying to get an extension for 3 months because, like I said, my job I'm working at, I'm a Teamster, so it's picking up, and I've been making progress, but I wanted to, just like I said, get an extension so I can make sure everything is finished by next few months.
Does the city have a stance on that or know what that address is for? No. 2104. Do you know if it's been sent out for bid yet or no, or anything? Can we share phone numbers and maybe be in, sir, I think what'll happen is you'll share contact information with Kelly and you guys can have that conversation, when he's aware of what's going on with the property, okay?
Well, I already came to court before. It was scheduled to come back on the 3rd.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying.
Okay, I
He'll
got
be
you.
able to tell you
Yeah,
if we
yeah,
can
okay.
extend it.
Okay.
If he's okay with it, we're okay with it.
All right.
Okay?
All right, thank you.
So, no problem. Thanks for coming in
All right,
today. Just
appreciate
make
it.
sure you get your number before you leave, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else?
Anybody else in the public like to speak? Okay, T.
As we do our vernal cleaning, let's just make sure we keep our alleys and driveways and fence lines clear of all debris and trash.
Appreciate that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay.
Very well
I
said.
recommend we adjourn.
And I concur. Thank you.